Tanya Roberts, famed Bond girl and That 70s Show star, sadly died on Sunday, January 3rd at the age of 65. It's reported she collapsed on Christmas Eve after coming back home after walking her dogs. She was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Hospital in LA and placed on a ventilator. She died just days later, but the exact cause of death has yet to be released. A spokesman said her death was not COVID-19 related. She left behind her partner Lance O'Brien and sister Barbara. Her sudden, unexpected death has sent shockwaves across the entertainment industry. She won't soon be forgotten by those whose lives she's touched. Let's honor her memory by taking a closer look at her life and career. Tanya's early years and the beginning of her career. Roberts was born October 15, 1955. She was born Victoria Lee Blum, but later adopted the name Tanya after entering the world of modeling. She came from humble beginnings. She and her older sister Barbara grew up in the Bronx. Her father was a fountain pen salesman in Manhattan, and her mother was a homemaker. Her family struggled to make ends meet. Eventually, her parents divorced, and Tanya went to live with her mother in Toronto, Canada. Roberts knew she wanted to be an actress and model when she was just a teenager. She was blessed with good looks and started taking headshots and compiling her portfolio with the plan of eventually making inroads in the entertainment industry. The plan was almost derailed, however, when she impulsively got married at the age of 15 and joined her bohemian husband on a cross-country hitchhiking trip across the U.S. To be fair, though, the call of the road lured a lot of young people to do the same back in those days. But if she wanted a chance to actually achieve her dreams, she was going to have to come back home and keep working at it. When her mother was finally able to track her down, she forced her to annul her marriage, despite the fact she was very much so in love with her hippie husband. This was an emotional time for Roberts, but it only fueled her passion to pursue her goals of modeling and acting. Shortly after the hitchhiking escapade and first marriage were cut short, she returned to the U.S. to start modeling. Before long, she was on the cover of numerous fashion magazine covers and being offered regular photo shoot opportunities. It would seem her hard work and perseverance were starting to pay off. In 1974, she got married to Barry Roberts. Her new husband was pursuing a career as a screenwriter, and she started studying acting at the Actors Studio under the legendary instructors Lee Strasberg and Uta Hagen in Manhattan. She was a fast learner and immediately got started reaching out to casting directors in the hopes of finding gainful employment on screen. She wasn't satisfied with simply seeing herself on the glossy pages of magazines. She wanted to see her name in lights up on the marquee. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, give it a like and subscribe to our channel. And don't stop watching now. We haven't even gotten to Roberts' big break yet. Dedicated and driven. Some might be resentful for the troubles she went through during childhood, but those negative experiences only helped her stay humble and grateful for what she did have. They also pushed her forward. She wasn't the kind of person to simply give up when the going gets rough. In the early 70s, Roberts' screen career got started with small parts in television spots for brands like Excedrin, Clairol, and Cool Ray sunglasses. She then landed some heftier roles in off-Broadway theatrical productions, but she still wasn't satisfied with those opportunities. Sure, they were a step in the right direction, but they certainly weren't the finish line by any means. She still wanted something more. After all, theater roles and television ads don't exactly pay much, nor did they offer the kind of exposure she was craving. She struggled to pay her bills and had to find extra work as a dance instructor just to put food on the table. But she wasn't about to let a few speed bumps discourage her from chasing her dreams. Roberts was always a go-getter. It took a lot to bring her down because even when she struggled, that just motivated her all the more to prove her critics and haters wrong. Eventually, a talent agent discovered her and offered her a role in a low-budget slasher flick called Forced Entry in 1975. Soon after, she landed several more roles in relatively low-key films such as Fingers and Tourist Trap, the latter of which eventually became a cult classic. From 1980 to 81, she played Julie Rogers on Charlie's Angels, having replaced Cheryl Hack. She unfortunately joined the series at the wrong time, though, because it would be canceled by ABC after the series' fifth season failed to draw in viewers. In total, she appeared in 12 episodes of the iconic show, but most people hardly remember her in it. It wasn't exactly the Grand Slam exposure opportunity she had hoped for, but she pressed on regardless. Roberts remained relatively unknown in the industry for the next several years. She starred in several adult films to help support herself during this time, but in 1982, she scored a role in The Beastmaster. The part was a major departure from the smutty roles she was used to getting in all those bottom-of-the-barrel horror movies. Finally, she had broken free from the limiting world of low-budget B films. In 1983, she starred in the made-for-TV film Murder You, Murder Me. Tanya was then offered a lead role for a TV pilot, but decided to sign on to 1984's overly ambitious fantasy flick Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, instead, which proved to be a box office disaster. Critics didn't take kindly to that film either, but despite the setback, the following year proved to be one of the biggest of her career. In 1985, she got the chance to be the Bond girl in A View to a Kill, although her acting was severely critiqued for being one-dimensional and shallow. What could have been the beginning of a thriving, big-budget film career quickly fizzled out, and she returned once again to appear in erotic thriller films like Body Slam in 1986 and Night Eyes in 1991. Roberts' career has this recurring theme. Every time she came close to finding success she always dreamed of, it seemed to just be barely out of reach. Perhaps she was never destined to be an A-lister, or maybe it all boiled down to just being dealt a bunk hand. Either way, she never let her failures consume her. At some point, she had to have known she was never going to be a celebrated starlet like Meryl Streep or Julia Roberts, but she kept pressing on, always giving every project she took on her best. Perhaps that's the most admirable quality Tanya Roberts possessed. She was unshakably determined throughout her entire career. Taking a break, and That 70s Show. In the early 90s, Tanya decided she needed to take a brief break from the film industry. After spending a couple of years devoted to self-care and reflection, she returned in 1996, starring in the video game The Pandora Detective and hosting the Cinemax series Hotlines. In 1998, her struggling acting career got another much-needed and appreciated boost when she was cast as Midge Pinciotti on That 70s Show. It was perhaps the most prolific role she had in years, but unfortunately, she would be forced to leave the show halfway through its run when her husband was diagnosed with a terminal illness in 2001. The show demanded too much of her time, and she knew that her place was by his side. Sadly, he passed away in 2006. Roberts would later return to That 70s Show in its later seasons as a guest star. Following her husband's death, she went on to have small roles in shows like Off Center in 2002, Fillmore in 2003, and Barbershop in 2005. She retired from acting in 2005 to focus on her relationship with her partner, Lance. Tanya's death. Her death was quite unexpected. She was reportedly in good health. In her most recent posts on Instagram, she expressed optimism for the then upcoming new year. She wished her fans good health and happiness in the year to come and reminded everyone to wear a mask during the ongoing pandemic. There were no warning signs her flame was about to be snuffed out. By all accounts, it seemed as if Roberts had many years ahead of her, but such is life. Like Roberts always did, we should all take the time to develop gratitude for what we have and the loved ones in our lives who care about us. It's heartbreaking Tanya's life was cut so short, especially right at the beginning of a new year, but we're pretty sure she was proud of what she was able to accomplish while she was here. Which role do you remember Tanya Roberts from? Charlie's Angels, James Bond, or That 70s Show? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Tap the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest videos.